Hey guys, Artosis here with the MPL, and we are, well, I actually kind of misspoke in the last one. I believe this is actually a good old best of 9, that we didn't switch into the Winners League format as always, because guess what? Scan is back, playing once again here, going up against BarrackS. So an excellent TVT between two very modern players. Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited here on Eclipse. I think Eclipse is a really good Terran versus Terran map. It's definitely one that can be cut in half quickly, but generally when this map gets cut in half, battlecruiser rushes occur. So the game can actually get figured out in, like, with the very late game units very, very quickly here sometimes. Definitely the fastest map for battlecruiser tech. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to get there. This might be Marine Medic versus Marine Medic, who knows, right? Like, don't turn it off. I know it's Terran versus Terran, but stay right there. It's actually a beautiful matchup. A lot like the board game Go, right? Like, capturing territory and whatnot. But truly, it is the most beautiful of the mirror matchups. I mean, you got the knife fight of ZVZ. You got the slot machine PvP with Dragoons. Amazing, I know. And then you got the beautiful Go-esque Terran versus Terran. Gonna love it. Absolutely. BarrackS going out immediately with this SCV. This is a very, very, very fast forward SCV. I believe he's gonna make his BarrackS down here, but I'm not 100% sure. No? Huh. Okay, so I guess he's gonna go command center first then. This is an interesting play because it's such a fast scout, but it seems like he's looking for proxies. The most common place to proxy BarrackS is down in this area between here and here. That's pretty popular to put a forward BarrackS. But look at this. Scan is actually going command center first without scouting. Okay, so, and the speed with which he got here and the amount of SCVs being pulled, this SCV is actually paying for itself relatively quickly. Obviously, you want to fight this with your SCV, but if your opponent has a proxy BarrackS, it doesn't matter. You're dead already, right? So it just kind of is what it is when you go for command center first. BarrackS, though, obviously he has a lot more intel, having sent that scout out very early, just making his BarrackS and getting his command center. Very quick gas here from Scan, and there we go from BarrackS as well. A little bit later on that. But his economy should be a bit smoother with the timing of his depot. You can see this depot quite a bit later for Scan to squeeze in his gas, since he really doesn't have any intel as to what's occurring. So, CC first versus CC first is kind of funny because there's a little bit of Marine chicken going on when these two builds hit each other. Because once you scout your opponent, you don't actually need a bunker. But if you don't need a bunker, it means your opponent, if he attacks with more Marines than you have, you're in trouble. So occasionally what we see is really silly stuff, like 4-5 Marines being made and just attacking across the map. I don't know if we're going to end up seeing that or not, but just throwing it out there, that funny thing I said at the beginning, yeah, it's so funny, Artosis, I know, about, who knows, maybe it's Marine Medic versus Marine Medic. Well, obviously it's not going to be that, but it could be Marines versus Marines in the early game. And in fact, you see BarrackS is making a third Marine. He's sending his Marines across the map right now. And what he's looking for is maybe having one more Marine than his opponent and just kind of walking in and dealing that damage. Now, 2 factories on the way. 2 factories on the way. A little bit slower here for BarrackS. Sending out more Marines. Okay, he is sending them across the map now. There is a scouting SCV going across for Scan as well. And there's the 4th Marine. And notice how Scan has 3 Marines, right? So there are going to be 4. But Scan should be fine here. By the time this gets down there and actually attacks, like, he's not going to be that far off of a Vulture, I would say. Okay, so here come the Marines now. He sees the 3. And you probably want to pull 1 SCV up with this. Yeah, there it goes. So the 1 SCV comes up. He's going to add some extra damage there. And you can see Scan starts to take that battle really quickly. That 4th Marine just a little bit too late to really make the difference. A little bit of micro going on, so he does pick that off. But, oh, he's actually going Siege Tank first. So It is a little bit more annoying because the siege tank takes way longer to make than the vulture. Okay, picks off another one, and if you have a full health SCV, this Marine is dead without killing anything else. So, pretty nice. Good scouting, though. Sees the third factory. Third factory coming up here as well for BarrackS. And you can see that even though Scan... Oh, fourth factory, in fact. Even though Scan, you know, got his command center up just slightly quicker, BarrackS, with that initial scouting intel, was kind of in a good position and got the depots up a little bit quicker. You can see he's up 5 workers right now, which is very nice. And he's actually started a fourth factory, but hasn't done anything with it. That's really weird. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what we're looking at there. Okay, he gets an SCV back on it. That was a little bit different for sure. Okay, vultures being made. So 3 siege tanks into vulture speed. Okay, this is a really strong build that we see from Scan. The 3 siege tanks can kind of lead the charge. Mines for BarrackS. So BarrackS is actually going to be okay here. He's going to be able to stack some mines to make it so that the siege tanks can't just walk across the map. The idea behind Scan's build is that the siege tanks are a very safe unit in the early game, but they can also lead if your opponent goes speed first vultures. These will tank a lot and deal a lot of damage and make it difficult for those vultures to engage, and you can follow that up with your own vultures, which he is doing. But with the mines out, this becomes very difficult to actually move across the map with the siege tanks, which means we should have BarrackS staying up on a slight vulture advantage, which means his, you know, Scan's vultures may not be able to make it across the map. Now, speed finishes. We have 6 vultures there, 5 here, 2 of which are damaged, but siege tanks and vultures at home. Armory coming up. Yeah, Scan should not be able to find any damage, and neither should BarrackS. I think that they've both just done a good job with their opening builds here overall. Still a bit of an SCV lead for BarrackS as well. Fourth factory coming up. There's the armory. And yeah, Scan is a little bit contained, so I think it does make a lot of sense for him to add an additional factory here. Just kind of keep that production rolling. Oh, that's a nice siege right there. Gonna just blast one of those vultures immediately. The other one, ooh, just wiggles back into range. Now the vulture's going for their counterattack. So this is where he is going to get punished a little bit for having his units across the map. Siege tank's coming down. Oh my god, that is a huge connection right there. Yeah, I think laying a few extra mines, going back after the SCV is a perfect maneuver. Siege mode is almost done for Scan. When it's done, he can siege up here. Obviously, he's laid a bunch of mines in between, so no more tanks can come. All he needs to do is buy a little bit of time, mass up, and then break through these tanks. In the meantime, we have these vultures coming home. Do we have the academy? Okay, the academy just finished up, so he is going to be... Oh my god. Huge mine connection right there. Gigantic mine connection, killing vultures and dealing damage to tank. Almost got SCVs as well. But basically, he's getting scanners, so Scan is on a little bit of a clock right now. He needs to break out of here before more reinforcements come up. And he should be able to. Yeah, I think if he just kind of goes... Okay, he sees the mines being triggered here. So this is where I feel like he actually needs to move in. There's a BarrackS here, so you have to be careful at that. A Wraith coming out? No, the Wraith isn't going to really do too much, I think. The one thing it can do is push the BarrackS back and allow him to have a slight vision advantage. It's very meticulous to push back Goliath tank BarrackS with tank Wraith, but you can do it. And that, it seems with 3 more tanks coming up, that's exactly what Scan is going to have to do here. He's not going to have much of an option. So yeah, basically, guys, to put this once again into like perspective, right? You're using the BarrackS, or to put it into other words on perspective, you're using the BarrackS to spot because siege tanks shoot further than they can see. The Goliaths are to prevent the Wraith from killing you. But Goliaths, even with the range upgrade, will not hit a Wraith, which pushes the BarrackS out of vision of the tanks without getting hit by the tanks, if that makes sense. Okay, so you get, basically you barely get the vision advantage by having the Wraith as opposed to the Goliath here. Now, he is getting the range upgrade. If you misclick, you can be in trouble there. Now, notice how he pops in because he knows that Scan is likely moving up. So, very nice move there to gain that little bit of vision. Scan sacrifices some of his vultures to take some of those hits, and he is clearing some of the tanks. So this is well done so far. He has to repair all these. 5 facts continuing to pump here for Scan. He's getting that command center. 2-port Wraith. I love this follow-up from BarrackS. This is really, really smart. He knows exactly what's going on. He knows kind of the weakness of his build. So basically when he gets enough Wraiths to win the Wraith battle, which is going to be, I guess, right now, since there's only 1 Wraith, this is bad news bears right now. And Scan's microing as best he can, but there's nothing really to be done. 2 Wraiths beats 1 Wraith so badly. Okay, it looks like he's probably going to try to bust. This is something that's a little bit scary right now. Moves up. His vultures tank a bit of damage. He sieges here as well. You got to try to target siege tanks where you can. Picks off a few, laying mines, bringing some SCVs up also. He's actually clearing it better than I thought he would, but you can see it's still not perfect. Still, 4 siege tanks are going to be left over, more vultures as well. And this is the issue. If you get this much contained, like you're in your natural, and you don't have any unit circulation, this is what the game can end up looking like. Now, obviously, both sides are macroing heavily. Scan trying to bust out, and BarrackS trying to keep him in. Gosh, I'm trying to figure out if Scan has a real shot here. He's down 20 workers, and that's most of the supply difference. There is 2-port Wraith, which is forcing him into Goliaths, which are going to be worse at breaking out than Vultures. And that's problematic as well. Okay, going to start hitting off this BarrackS. He now has that kind of vision advantage that we were talking about before. Let's take a look over here. The add-on coming up, so probably going to go for Cloak. 3rd base on location. Scan is trying, man. He's trying. He's like landed this above a mine because he has nothing to clear it. Making a comm sat there. Oh, boy. Okay, dropping SCVs out. Not a bad move. Even though he's going to lose the dropship, he needs to try something. It doesn't seem like he's going to quite bust out, though, once again, and still doesn't quite have unit circulation. He might, if he moves these siege tanks forward just a little bit, he can slip out here and get some units going up this way. So if he can cut through this area, he can secure this base, which is incredibly important, but still down 45 supply. Only half of that is an army, but still, it is a huge differential that he has to overcome right now. You can see that BarrackS has skipped out on some things like that +1 attack. He's just using the brute power of this containment. Tank siege on both sides. You can see him trying to cut this area like I was talking about. Some vultures running by now. Oh, he might get a little bit of damage. Ooh, running into some mines here. All right, finally does get the connection. Nice scan there from Scan to kill off that siege tank. But yeah, enough units come up. He can't get the harassment done here, unfortunately. Still a pretty sizable advantage. 21 SCV advantage. So the armies are getting a little bit closer as far as supply goes. Yeah, gonna have to move that command center down. Way more efficient mining. Definitely worth. And triple starport. Okay, so this is the risky play that Scan has chosen here to try to come back against BarrackS. You know, BarrackS, he is getting Cloak. He is still producing Wraiths. So it's going to be a while before Scan can catch up on that. And he's going to make Valkyries. So that is going to definitely change it a little bit. But what we'll probably see when BarrackS figures out that Valkyries are on the way is he'll probably just start adding Valkyries as well. And then we'll have Valkyrie Wraith versus Valkyrie Wraith. And basically at that point, if BarrackS just doubles down on his production of that, that's going to bode very, very well for him because he just has a slightly bigger economy, as you see. It's a quicker economy, a bigger economy, more workers, more bases. Taking this additional base, this one as well, so double expanding with that edge. Scan has pushed him back, right? That's definitely an important thing to mention. He's got control of his low ground area here. Very, very important. He's kind of starting to poke up, put some mines down, give himself a little bit of breathing room. But BarrackS continues to be at a gigantic advantage here. You see a bunch of vultures running up to do some harass. Definitely worthwhile to sacrifice those right now, I would say. These Wraiths come up and kind of suicide a little bit. Not the best move. But yeah, that SCV count is still okay for Scan. He's got so few bases, it doesn't matter all that much that he lost some SCVs there. Can transfer more. Obviously, every bit of damage hurts at this point. Lots of wraiths being produced. Not that many anymore here from BarrackS. He's also kind of just cleaning up his upgrades, right? He's adding more factories, getting Goliath range, just kind of filling everything out. These vultures from Scan go up and try to get some harassment. They do slow that command center a little bit. And in fact, he's bringing some tanks. Let's see if he can actually maybe take a favorable engagement here, blow up a few of his opponent's tanks. He doesn't have that many units, though, unfortunately. Now, here's the nice thing, though. These wraiths have been fighting wraiths for BarrackS. He's actually been utilizing them quite a bit, which means Scan is going to have the superior air army, right? We have these two wraiths and then these two that are damaged. Whereas Scan right now is sitting on 6, producing 3 at a time, and he has a Valkyrie there to help clean up the remnants of that Wraith army as well. Notice he actually targets the Wraiths there. His Goliaths were naturally targeting vultures, but instead he does want to reduce that Wraith count as much as possible so that he can just sweep in the air. And he's going to have a very sharp window here, very tight window where his Wraiths are going to be really strong, and then we're going to see missile turrets everywhere. So he's got to get something done. Here we go. He has come up with his Wraiths, targeting down multiple siege tanks. Now, do we actually already have the engineering bay? Oh my gosh, I think he doesn't have the engineering. Okay, it just finished actually. But yeah, he's just basically got to make, yeah, there we go. Got to make as many missile turrets as possible. And you can see Scan wins that air battle, going to continue to push through these siege tanks. I'm surprised we don't just see mass turrets everywhere right now for BarrackS, because this is really the lifeline for Scan to get back into this game. These Wraiths getting a lot of damage done. And he's killing off a decent amount of units. Look, he's down 13 workers, and if you add 13 to 137, he's actually like basically tied in supply now. That's pretty huge considering how this game opened. I'm very impressed that he was able to get there. But BarrackS, you have to give the lead to still. He has this 4th base up, and he has this 5th base. Scan hasn't even thought about this side of the map as of yet. So a very tough position because of that. The Wraiths coming down, going to help clear out these tanks that are on that contain as well. Wow! BarrackS being pushed back absolutely everywhere. He's starting to field some Goliaths. He's starting to make dropships. Oh, that's not what I expected. Oh, I don't know about that drop switch, like, or drop ship switch. Like, if Scan catches wind that it's dropships, his Wraiths will just be on the prowl for them. And obviously, Wraiths are a good counter against dropships if you can find them. So I think that's kind of a risky maneuver. And now you look at this, there's all this empty area. He's lost a lot of siege tanks. Okay, as Scan goes down, he knows exactly where he's moving to. BarrackS coming in with his units to try to head this off. Way more siege tanks right now for Scan, though, who picked off really a ton of them with his Wraiths tech switch. Honestly, his Wraiths can come back up here as well. Only 2 Goliaths. He could pick this off pretty easily. Send some vultures up to this 12 o'clock base. What a miraculous comeback that we're actually looking at right now. Continued Wraith production here for Scan. Vultures just destroying that mineral line right now. Another area that it looks like he wants to take for an expansion. But yeah, the Wraiths came up as I suggested to kill off the tanks at this 4th base. And things are really falling apart right now. Okay, he's actually just flying across with dropships, but he's only got like 3. Yeah, he's got like 3 Goliaths in there, so it doesn't even matter. You can see how quickly those get picked off. 3 Goliaths. I think I would feel like, yeah, going in and trading here, like if you were able to kill those Goliaths, the game basically ends. But it looks like he's starting more missile turrets as well. It's going to be pretty hard to kill off those Goliaths with that few Wraiths. So BarrackS saves this base for now. And obviously he's not going to lose this base. He took a lot of damage here, but he can still clean it up. He does have a pretty big standing army. The Wraiths here of Scan come up and start to clear out that BarrackS. More dropships getting ready to load up. We'll see where they end up going. A little bit of vulture harassment did hit this base. And you can see the worker count has really been reversed at this point. Scan taking the top left right now with the command center. It's a tough road for BarrackS to come back here. The drop ships, like with how forward Scan is being, if the Wraiths don't catch the drop ships and he can get a big drop off, oh, he just scanned it. Oh, that's doom right there. I think we're actually going to see GG as he flies in here. Oh, is he going to be able to save him? I mean, I feel like I would just dive on that because right now Scan is getting such a lead. If he just kills dropships, there's no real mobility anymore. But yeah, it looks like there is a little bit of chicken going on. Gonna unload. The Wraith's picking off quite a bit. Like, this is putting a lot of pressure on BarrackS to bring his army down. You don't want to be losing this many siege tanks to Wraiths. Don't forget, a Wraith costs the same amount as a siege tank. So if you're able to kill off siege tanks with Wraiths, you're actually gaining quite a nice advantage. Obviously, just lose them willy-nilly to Goliaths. No good there. Okay, let's take a look. Battle cruisers on the way. What did I say, guys? A great mass siege tank battle cruiser game. But no, really, when you end up securing like 4 gas, you can go battle cruisers. In fact, he got even more than that now that he has that top left. So I like this transition from him. He's been utilizing the Wraiths very, very well. And if he goes into siege tank or battle cruisers, that should help to put him over the top just barely, where we're going to see him, you know, just crush through one more base. And that's basically what he needs to take it at this point, I would say. Now, Scan has cleared out this area. It only had missile turrets. Definitely, BarrackS was thinking about expanding there at least. We have those 2-1 upgrades. Let's take a look. Yeah, 2-1 on both sides. 3 VCs are out. Definitely want to see some more of those going forward. Some more getting produced. The mass dropship tech. I feel like he's, you know, this was a very questionable play when he started going for it, but now it's kind of like what might end up saving him this game. If he can quickly go over and kill something, like, I could see him killing this base, right? If he can get some dropships in there. Got to be careful at the Goliaths catching him, but if he could kill this base or do a big drop in the main, either one of those would be very powerful. Okay, comes over and kind of carpet bombs on top of this small push. The Wraiths and Valkyries come up to help push that back. And it looks like he's just going to end up sacrificing it. But yeah, he's... Ooh, Siege Tanks of Scan coming up now as well. A little bit tricky here for BarrackS. A lot of tanks coming up from Scan, so it looks like he will end up holding into this top left, and obviously that double gas gonna really help him out as he continues to mass up battle cruisers. We have Yamato on the way. 4th starport has been started. Scan taking another base here as well. Lots of anti-air and some siege tanks down here for good measure. So the big difference as far as economy goes really goes to this base, which is obviously super important. A lot of times what you have in more even TVTs is one player has the top left and one player has both the bases at the bottom right, with the player having the bases at the bottom right having a slight edge because these are not all full geysers at the top left. So generally that's what we end up seeing in a pretty even TVT here. But the fact that Scan has one of these bases plus this base, definitely the big edge. Now, another drop defensively coming over to clear some of these tanks that came up to harass this base. We'll be able to knock those out. Scan still with quite a few siege tanks in the area. Quite a few empty dropships go over to the side. Looks like BarrackS coming down, trying to clear once again. And I tell you, if he sees the BCs, I think he'll just GG at that point. He's down so much. 50 supply. He's barely got SCVs here. Barely here. Nothing. Good. Yeah, decent saturation there, but that's about it. Really feels like the world is closing in on him right now. Even though he has a good amount of bases, I think BarrackS knows that this is not looking good right now. Now, where did those BCs end up going? Let's take a look. Where are you, BCs? Okay, the drop coming to the top left. And, well, it doesn't go as well as I think he was hoping, but he might still be able to clear his base if he brings more units down. No, it looks like it's going even worse than I thought, unfortunately. I actually do want to know where the BCs are. Where in the world? Okay, here they are. Yeah, once he sees these, I think it's going to be a GG watch. You can't win from here. GG.